Part 3, the end of Chapter 14 and Chapter 15. I climbed into my own berth, pushed the ruined bedding aside, and crawled forward. I hoped they'd found the secret storage nook, found it and taken the packages, and that it was all over. But even before I slid the panel open, I knew they hadn't, and I was right. They were still there, a dozen red packages lined up side by side. I'd hidden them too well. I closed my eyes and slumped down into the mattress. That's when I heard footsteps overhead, and a moment later, my father's voice. "You want to tell me what's going on?" Chapter 15. I told him everything, beginning with Burdett following me into the utility room back in October, and ending with the black Mercedes racing past me that afternoon. It took about 10 minutes. During that time, he never interrupted and never acted surprised. It was as if I were telling him things he already knew, and I guess in a way I was. All along, he'd suspected I was doing something illegal. "And you think the guys in the Mercedes tore up the boat looking for those packages?" "I don't know who else it could have been." After that, neither of us said anything for a while. Then he opened his pocket knife and motioned toward my berth. "Grab one of those packages, Chance. We might as well find out what they're smuggling." "I told you," I said. "There are gems hidden in them, emeralds and stuff like that. So let's take a look." I've never held a real emerald in my hand. I picked up one of the packages and handed it to him. He carefully slid it open. Underneath the red paper was a layer of wax paper. He peeled it away. Underneath that was a doughy substance. "And you think gems are hidden inside this stuff?" "That's what they told me." He pulled it apart, poked his fingers through it, but found nothing. He held it to his nose and smelled it. Finally he put it down and stared at it. He was just about to say something when we heard a rattling at the security gate. We both looked at each other. He motioned for me to stay still, and then he climbed up and looked. When he came back down, he shook his head. "Just Kovich leaving." We both looked back to the doughy stuff on the table. "It's some kind of plastic explosive, isn't it?" I said. His eyebrows went up. "How do you know about plastic explosives?" "Is that what it is?" He nodded. "In the army I once handled some stuff called Semtex. It was a lot like this. A lot like this." We both stared at it, trying to take in what it all meant. It didn't seem possible. Not me, not my dad, not Shell's Marina, not the tiny dancer. Something like this couldn't happen here. To us. And yet there it was. I looked toward the other packages. How much damage could all this do?" I asked. "None without a detonator, and I don't see one here. But hook up a couple of wires and a battery." He stopped and shook his head. "We've got to call the police." "Be quiet, Chance," he said. "I need to think." "What's there to think about? We've got to get it out of here right now and call the police. They're sure to come back. If they killed Burdett, they'd kill us too." His eyes fired with danger. "I said I need to think, okay?" I sat still, my heart drumming in my chest, while his eyes seemed focused on something very far away. Finally he spoke. "Listen to me, Chance, and listen carefully. You know Kovich's inflatable boat?" "What does that have to do with anything, Dad? We have to get out of here. Just answer me. Do you know the boat?" "Kovich owned the sailboat moored in the slip next to us. A little yellow inflatable was always tied to the stern." "Of course I know it." "All right. Here's what you're going to do. You're going to slip into his boat, and then onto that inflatable. Once you're on it, you'll row to the beach, ditch the inflatable, and go straight to Trevor Watts. I want you to tell him everything you've told me." "Melissa's father? Why him? Why not the police?" "Because the police won't believe you, not without checking it out for themselves. If cops come down here now, the men behind this will know it's over and just slip away, that's why." "I don't care if they get away. I just want to get off this boat and go to a phone booth so we can call the police. I'll tell them everything. I don't even care if I end up in jail. It's what I deserve anyway." My dad shook his head. "You're not thinking, Chance. These are terrorists we're dealing with. Terrorists. If they get away now, they won't stop. In 6 months or a year, they'll have a new target, a new plan to blow something up, and kill somebody or thousands of somebodies. I'm not going to let it happen. You think of me as a bum. I know you do. And I don't blame you, because that's all you've ever seen. But I told you I was a good soldier, and I was. I was very good. I'm going to get these guys, Chance, but I need your help. I need you to get Trevor Watts. So will you do it? For me?"